Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar today on SIEM, or Security Information and Event Management for ZOS.
Today I'll be presenting some of the key data points and insights we gained from this survey as they relate to the use of SIEM. The survey respondents were spread across a good cross-section of various organizational roles. We asked all respondents if their company has a SIEM solution in place. As you can see, 86 respondents, or 61%, said yes, while 25 or 18% said no, and 30 or 21% didn't know if they had a SIEM solution in place or not. As you can see, 54 or 61% said their distributed system, while 27 or 31% said both their distributed and mainframe systems were included in their SIEM solution. No respondent said that only their mainframe ZOS system was included in their SIEM solution. All the companies that were surveyed have at least one mainframe, all are Fortune 500 size companies, and all are located in the U.S. Respondents that selected distributed system, or Windows, Linux, Unix, or Solaris, were then asked to indicate which group in their company is pushing to have SIEM. As you can see, security management was the most selected group by a wide margin. While the right folks within the organization are pushing for SIEM, they don't have the mainframe included in their SIEM solution, or they don't know that the mainframe is included. Not knowing if the mainframe is part of the SIEM solution is as bad as not having the mainframe included in a SIEM solution, because it shows that there is a lack of coordinated effort for SIEM within the company across all platforms.
I'd like to talk to mainframers about security information and event management, or SIEM. Security information and event management is the logging, the collection, the analysis, the presentation of security-related log information on a computer or computers. The S and the M are easy to remember. The S is security and M is management. The I and the E are different, though. The I is for information. That is overall information processing, whatever you'd want to do to analyze or present. But the E stands for event, because sometimes there will be a specific event and we don't want a day-old trend report. We want immediate, real-time response. There are three major questions to think about as you ask yourself, what are you going to do with all of this log data? Your starting point is going to be to list all the measurements, all the data elements that are available to you. Your analysis might identify, for example, trends, or even more interesting, changes in trends. In contrast to gradual changes, your analysis might identify spikes. Your analysis might identify top 10 lists. Which leads us to the next thing you might identify, which is unusual events. And sometimes you look at stuff and say, that can't be, the measurement has to be wrong, and you start looking at the underlying factors and what is actually going on, and you discover there was something very unusual, and you're very glad you learned it. You might identify changes in frequency patterns, or you might find ratios exceeding some limit, and you could have confidence limits, or you could have exception limits. Well, what can you do with SIEM? How would you like it presented? It might be an exception list. It could be a top 10 list. It could be a graph over time. It could be a ratio over time with limits flagged in red. Maybe you could present the data as a pie chart. Sometimes you want a real-time alert. We've talked about this already. There's some events where what you want is an immediate email or phone call or something to get immediate action taken. Or you might present it as some frequency or ratio plotted against time of day, or you might even get all of the information presented as a management dashboard. When we say enterprise, we mean the combination of mainframes, distributed platforms like Unix and Windows, and the internet. If you tie these all together, and they are tied all together, if you try the SIEM administration of these all together, this is where you get the real benefits. These benefits expand tremendously when you combine the mainframe SIEM data with the distributed SIEM data.
Here is a diagram that illustrates some of the different sources that can feed information into your centralized SIEM. Then to break it down even further, here are some of the applications that you can monitor and send events to your SIEM specifically for System Z. As can be seen, the entire spectrum of the mainframe can be monitored to ensure that nothing is overlooked. All of the questions that may need to be answered during an audit or a violation, like who, what IP address, when did it occur, and what was the location. These are answers that you can have at your fingertips all in one place. You can configure rules for specific conditions. So if the event comes up on the log, you can certainly email the security team, or if you like, generate an SNMP trap to an SNMP receiver. Once the logs are retained, they cannot be altered with. So in fact, they are tamper-proof. No one can delete or hide information in these logs, which is an excellent security feature on the enterprise SIEM. Firstly, it improves the efficacy of RACF, ACF2 and Top Secret, and the SMF and console messages. I've extracted a few samples. Here you can see a few console messages that I thought would be of interest to report on. Do you have an idea what files are being transferred to and from your mainframe? Perhaps you want to keep tabs on that. Then maybe monitoring what your security folks are doing on RACF, Top Secret and ACF2. Then Unix events. What about directory searches, the change audit command, and the very powerful change ownership commands? We found that SIEM, according to some of the survey results, is widely implemented on the distributed environment, but perhaps not so much on ZOS. Companies can leverage the SIEM agents on ZOS to report on these critical events. More importantly, the logs can be retained from these different sources, and you can customize these events to alert on real events. Most of the ZOS agents can incorporate into your existing SIEM strategy. So if you have one already on your distributed environment, you're going to find that if you do implement one on ZOS, it's pretty simple to incorporate into that strategy. It makes for proactive monitoring. And lastly, can you risk not knowing what is occurring in your ZOS environment?
Thank you for your interest in our SIEM for ZOS webinar. Would you like to hear more about security information and event management in the enterprise environment? Would you like to see how Security Monitor Alert Real-Time or SMART for SIEM is the answer? To view the entire presentation, go to our website, sdsusa.com, and request the link to this webinar. Remember, you can request a free trial period for this and other SDS products and partner products. Go to sdsusa.com or call us at 1-800-443-6183 or write to us at info@sdsusa.com. We look forward to working with you.